VELINA is a wind anomaly sub-DPS pseudo-stunner support. Yes, that is a thing now. And frankly, also our first available wind agent. Oh, and she works just perfectly fine with every single anomaly agent in the game, and yes, that also includes Miyabi and Yanagi, despite some making it sound like she becomes quite literally unplayable, but well, let's talk about the score differences a bit later into the video. Welcome to Ross Califere and Zenless Zero's Season 3. I am Rivyn Elowen, but you may call me Rivy, and this is your complete in-depth guide to VELINA AIRGID. While VELINA is rather simple to play, as we will see in a bit, let's first talk a little bit about the new wind element itself, as it is absolutely crucial for you to understand how it works and to understand her kit. This section will be much more of an overview and summary of how wind, windswept and vortex work, for the sole purpose for you to understand how VELINA works and why certain skills are worded the way they are. If you want to know everything about wind, please check out my upcoming guide on the wind element right here, a link will be in the description. Contrary to our other elements, wind is a priority element. Once applied, windswept will be triggered, it will last for 20 seconds and cannot be removed through the application of another element, and it can also be infused with another element in the same way Yuzuha's element matching works. This infusion is called contamination, and the first non-wind attack that matches the attacker's attribute that hits an enemy affected by the wind anomaly will be the one infused. The wind anomaly itself is called windswept, and windswept deals initial damage upon trigger, and while an enemy is affected by windswept, when another anomaly is applied, a corresponding vortex will be triggered and the anomaly auras will be consumed. Hence, normal disorders are not possible on windswept affected enemies. Well, with the exception of polarity disorders that is, those still work, and if you were to apply for example a burn, there will be no burn. Also means Inferno Metal, Thunder Metal and Chaotic Metal have their 4-piece effect effectively disabled for teams that contain a wind agent. Before we move on, I also would like to give a special shout out to our old HP sponge friend Notorious Butcher, who really likes disorders to remove the buff on him. Not possible with wind. Anyway, that said, a vortex will always be triggered by windswept's owner. That means if VELINA has applied windswept, she will be the one that triggers vortex, always. This is important for multiple reasons. First up, it means that specific stats, like a vortex damage bonus on your Jane, does absolutely nothing as VELINA is the one triggering vortex. Second, it matters for the wordings used by Hoyo within VELINA's kit. And third, it also means that she will have a very high damage contribution to the team, even if she does nothing but exist in the team, as all the vortex and windswept damage dealt will be attributed to her and not the character that applied the last anomaly. This matters not only for my calculations, as it can make some results and damage contributions look rather, let's call them, weird, but, well, so it does in-game, and that can look kinda funny. Lastly, while an enemy is affected by windswept, wind attacks and attacks of the contaminated element will also be granted a direct damage bonus. This is a separate damage modifier and effectively grants both elements a true 10% damage increase. This is most of what you need to know about wind. Again, if you want to know more, I recommend you to check out my wind guide, otherwise let's continue with her kit. Let's begin with VELINA's unique resources, Wind Bloom and Wind Bite. They are, as per usual, indicated below her HP bar, with a bar representing her Wind Bloom, and her Wind Bite points are the 2 dots next to it. VELINA begins combat with a 45 Wind Bloom, gaining another 45 each time she casts one of her 2 energy-consuming EX specials, more on that later. If VELINA triggers a vortex, she will summon one small tornado called Condensed Cyclone and also gain 1 point of Wind Bite. If VELINA triggers Vortex while she already has 2 points, she will then consume said 2 points of Wind Bite instead, increases the damage multiplier of this Vortex by 150% and summons a big tornado, called Sweeping Cyclone. This damage multiplier increase is a flat MV additive. Only one Sweeping Cyclone can exist at once, and upon its or a Condensed Cyclone's expiry, they will trigger one instance of a bloom on nearby windswept affected enemies. If a Sweeping Cyclone, that is the big tornado, hits a contaminated enemy, the cyclone will adapt the contaminated element as well, dealing additional damage of that attribute. It should be noted that the cyclone only builds a wind anomaly, even if contaminated, well, unless you have a Mindscape too, but more on that later. Enemies hit by a Sweeping Cyclone have additionally their anomaly build-up resistance reduced by 7% for both wind as well as the contaminated element. Lastly, she gains an additional damage bonus and anomaly mastery based on her initial energy regeneration above 1.2, capping out at 35% and 84% respectively. Well, I guess that kinda spoils her builds. Her additional ability requires either an anomaly or wind agent, and we want to make sure this condition is always fulfilled. First, VELINA gains a 10% windswept and vortex damage bonus, and her ultimate will now also trigger a very strong wind bloom. Additionally, the build-up resistance threat from her core's Sweeping Cyclone, again big tornado, is doubled, and this cyclone deals increased days and also anomaly build-up. Fortunately for us, we can actually skip like 80% of her kit, as all of her skills, bar her EX special and ultimate, do absolutely nothing special but deal damage, daze and inflict anomaly. Hence, we will skip all of these shown on screen right now. Technically, her basics don't really do anything special either, but a lot of her other skills allow her to directly follow up with her basic 5, during which her anti-interrupt level is increased and her damage taken is decreased, and we might or might not use this occasionally. Her chain is honestly rather unremarkable, but her ultimate is not. It will trigger said a bloom from her additional ability, triggers a quick assist to the previous character after use, and most importantly, has a very high anomaly build-up value. VELINA features 2 EX specials, which both cost and require 45 energy. Her first EX will have her perform a backwards dodge, which can also trigger Vital View, and can directly be followed up with either her basic 5 by simply pressing basic, or her second EX special if her energy is sufficient by pressing or holding EX. This second EX special can also be followed up with her basic 5, and it behaves slightly differently depending on whether or not you keep it pressed or let go of it early. If we keep it pressed, we can directly transition into her third EX special, skipping the following wind sweep animation. Both of them deal damage and inflict anomaly. We will use both of them, and whether or not we prefer a single EX special or a combined one will depend on the team and, more importantly, the game state. Each EX cast will generate also 45 Wind Bloom from her core skill, and if we have 90, we then can hold her special or basic to manually summon a Sweeping Cyclone, again big tornado, and trigger a quick assist to the previous character. And as previously mentioned, we can also directly transition into this from her second EX special. And that is literally her entire kit, so let's talk about her skill priority before we head into the gameplay breakdown, because frankly, her combos are not really combo-y enough to deserve their own section. Most of VELINA's damage comes from her blooms, vortex and windswept, so any skill that isn't her core does not really matter all too much, at least in terms of damage. However, VELINA has some frankly pretty high daze multipliers, and does hence absolutely contribute a lot of daze. Means, while we don't really care too much about her skill levels for her damage output, we do care about it for her daze. Focus on her core first and foremost, then her EX special and assist, into her chain, followed by her basics, and lastly dodge. We can leave her dodge at level 1, as we will literally never use it. I begin combat on VELINA with a few basics and her EX special to generate 45 Wind Bloom, then hold her basic attack down to summon our big tornado. I quick assist into Promeia, then proceed to basic a few times to start building Anomaly. I parry with Yuzuha into her EX special to apply Moonlight Lullaby and get her buffs up and running, then quick assist back to Promeia. I parry on VELINA to build a Decibels, then proceed to basic on her and use her first EX special in preparation for In Just a Bit, and to be able to parry on Promeia next. Which is what I do, then follow up with her EX and hold basic to trigger a few blooms to prevent overcap and also build a Decibels. This is where I have to explain some things. The new boss attempts to set up a corruptive barrier somewhere between 230 and 205. Staggering or displacing him, for example with VELINA's big tornado, during this time can prevent him from doing so. Applying an anomaly while said barrier is up will build 15% daze, and breaking the barrier basically instantly stuns the boss. And if you want to get 3 stun windows, this is, at least in my experience, the only somewhat consistent way to get that. Anyway, back to our run. We are approaching the 230 timestamp, so my goal in this run is to now unload my ultimates and VELINA's big tornadoes to stagger the boss. I first use Promeia's ultimate. Then I switch to VELINA and use her EX special, then follow up with her big tornado to stagger further. I quick assist back to Promeia and quickly swap to Yuzuha, then cast her EX into 2 basics for enough decibels, and lastly use her ultimate. I switch to Promeia, trigger Shatter and use her EX for more ice buildup, then switch to VELINA, use her EX special and ultimate as well. A quick switch to VELINA for another tornado right before stun starts, then quick assist back to Promeia and use her EX special. We now bloom a few times, then switch to Yuzuha to trigger stun, using her EX special to refresh her buffs. I chain on Promeia, cancel the chain and a bloom once, then switch to VELINA to re-trigger stun and chain a second time on Promeia. Now I end the stun window with her ultimate, which a bloom unfortunately lands just right out of stun. This run has had quite a few of misplays, some bad RNG right afterwards, and has also not been my best run. But I wanted to show this one here because it is one of the few runs where I actually got to skip the barrier phase nicely. Whether or not delaying it is actually worth it? Honestly, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. At least in my experience, the only semi-consistent way to get 3 stuns is by doing that. Well, at least at Mindscapes 0 that is. Unfortunately, I am heavily limited by time, so yeah, let's talk about her weapons. Most people skip right here, so hi, welcome! I hope you have a great day and my calculations will help you out. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe. Statistically, there is a good chance you are not yet subscribed. Thank you. I love you. Given her, at least for now, unique status as not only the sole Wind Anomaly character, and hence also only source of Windswept and Vortex, but also her scaling of energy regeneration, her signature is her best in slot, and that is even more so amplified by it not only buffing herself, but also providing another 60 anomaly proficiency to the team, and also it makes her building easier. Her next best choice is then, well, any 60% ER main stat weapon such as Sissia's signature, and anything else comes below. Choose whatever you have. The new 4-piece set Wuthering Salon is made for her, granting her 50 anomaly proficiency as well as 18% damage bonus, and is hence her best in slot and frankly also only real choice. As for the 2-piece, either a Moonlight Lullaby or Swing Jazz are required to get the most out of her core passive, and it is what I would recommend over any other choices. Anomaly proficiency in slot 4, wind damage or attack percent in slot 5, and energy regeneration in slot 6 are her best choices. As for slot 5, pen ratio can do just fine as well, and at least when playing with both her signature and also Yuzuha's signature, even attack percent in slot 4 is not quite literally unplayable, albeit, well, as you can see, it is worse. As per usual, choose whatever has better substats, and speaking of which, focus first and foremost on anomaly proficiency and attack percent. They are equal, don't neglect attack percent, thank you. Then flat attack and flat pen. VELINA's Mindscapes are very good, at least with Promeia that is. Versus the new boss, hitting 3 stuns is rather difficult, and with her M1 providing more days, this becomes pretty feasible. The Resignor for her vortexes and windswept are nice, but matter less for Promeia. However, this Mindscape can perform better on high anomaly build-up units such as Burnice for example. Her Mindscape 2 can look pretty deceiving on paper here, as I calced her using Promeia. Her M2 provides more windswepts, more build-up for your other unit, in my case Promeia, and increases her additional abilities Vortex and windswept damage from 10 to 25%. More anomalies also means more resources for Promeia, which in turn also means more blooms from Promeia. I do want to reiterate that this Mindscape is great, but it is worse for other anomaly characters that aren't Promeia. Her M3 and M5 exist, and her M4 gives her effectively 15% combat attack, so whatever. Her M6 provides even more tornadoes by refunding windbite points, increases her wind anomaly build-up, and provides an anomaly damage bonus to windswept based on the remaining time of the previous windswept. This Mindscape is overall just very good, leading to more big tornadoes and overall just more windswept triggers. However, it might be a little bit diminished depending on how many windswept you proc and also how frequently you do that. If you decide to invest more into her, I would recommend her signature over her Mindscape 1, and a good stopping point is her Mindscape 2. VELINA effectively works as a budget Nangongyu in every anomaly team, often being either the best in slot or about even up with the Yu. Well, at least as of right now, she is ahead due to the wind chill, but anyway. Unfortunately, however, every single team features Yuzuha, so if you don't have Yuzuha, it might be looking a little bit rough. VELINA works beautifully with Promeia, and at least as of right now, given the wind and ice chill, Promeia is her best in slot partner. Well, except Jane exists, and the Assault Vortex can in fact crit. Means not only does VELINA work very nicely with Jane, but especially if you have Jane's M2, she becomes an absolute menace, and VELINA is Jane's new best in slot. Of course, Alice and Piper work nicely as well, albeit I found Alice to be the weakest of the three. Might be skill issues, who knows. Funnily enough, Aria has had one of the highest scores I've gotten, rivaling that of Promeia with only one single run, and I believe Aria to be VELINA's new best in slot partner overall, not accounting for shill. Aria is also much easier to play than Promeia is, and especially if you don't have Sona and Nangongyu, VELINA and Yuzuha can make up for a great Aria team. Oh hell yeah, Burnice, I love Burnice! And VELINA is, at least for anomaly proficiency Burnice, her new best in slot. Not only is this team very lovely to play, it also lessens Burnice's reliance on stun windows, making her easier to play overall. However, if you are a maniac like I am, VELINA does not work for Critneys because, again, Inferno Metal not a thing and stuff. But anyway, Burnice is back, baby! Step aside from me, Burnice is here to rival your scores. Vivian and VELINA work as well, and while I found the team to not score as highly as others, the large amount of quick assists a Yuzuha VELINA team provides to Vivian makes it much easier to maintain stacks on Vivian. Even Grace profits off VELINA, but A, I am not really a great Grace player, and B, she gets still shafted by having a freaking evasive assist. So at least for me, while scoring honestly somewhat nicely, she fell behind other options. Unless your name is Miyabi. However, I want to be very clear, 35k is not unplayable. Is the team great? No. Is Miyabi unplayable with VELINA? Also no. If you like Miyabi, she will do just fine, even if her performance will take a massive hit compared to disorder-based teams such as with Nangongyu. Funnily enough, at least for me, Yanagi outscored Miyabi, even if only by just a bit. The rather small polarity disorder MV existent on the wind anomaly does hurt Yanagi, and while I would much rather prefer playing her in other teams, if you like Yanagi, she can do just fine. So, what if you don't have Yuzuha? Honestly, VELINA might not be a good pull for you. Yes, you could attempt Nangong-yu or Nicole, but at least Nangong-yu feels horrible to play with VELINA and their double backwards quick assists, so honestly, if you do not have Yuzuha, I would also not recommend pulling for VELINA. A Sona Nangong-yu core will do better. That being said, here are all my team scores. All teams have been played at M0W1 with 5 runs per team and only the best score taken, with the only exception being Promeia, who I did around 500 runs with. VELINA is rather simple to play and highly versatile, working for every single anomaly unit in the game, including Miyabi, Alice and Yanagi, even if the latter three's performance does take a big hit compared to their best in slot teams with Nangong-yu. She is rather cheap to invest into in terms of damage, but her days is valuable and I would still recommend leveling her skills for that purpose alone. It is a big selling point of VELINA. VELINA is a budget Nangong-yu for Grace, Burnice, Promeia, Arya, Jane and Piper, but also less reliant on her signature than Nangong-yu is, albeit her signature is still very good. On the other hand, she also is a much worse budget Nangong-yu for Miyabi, Yanagi and Alice, and VELINA is also heavily reliant on Yuzuha. If you have Yuzuha and skip Nangong-yu, however, VELINA might be a great pickup for you. And with that, we are at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Before I leave you with the showcases, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment on whether or not you are getting our VELINA AIRGID, and of course join the Discord. And if you want some cool merch, we have merch now, yippee! A link is in the description. A special thanks goes to my YouTube and Patreon members who make this content possible. If you wish to support me, you will find a link to my Patreon in the description, or simply click the join button right below this video. And as always, I appreciate all of you and wish you a great day. Peace!
history.